Hi everyone, this is Stephanie at Hightower Stitching with today's video, which is number 263, and it is butterflies. I always like the saying that butterflies are free. The other day I was watching them around the bridal bush and they were just having the best time. It's just kind of a time of year when they come out and they're a pleasure to watch. And after making those big quilts with those t-shirts, I was ready for something cute and something smaller, and this one really satisfies that for me because you can make one block. It's 18 and a half inch block, and when you get done, you can make a pillow, you can make a table runner, you can make a baby blanket, you can make, and just use 4 of the blocks together. You can put more together and make a throw. And the other thing is they can be so colorful. So that's the cover. And this here is a cute example of one that was done as a cover for a bed. That was so cute. And this one comes from the American Patchwork. And it was August of, I think it's from this month, this year, if I remember. Have everything else but that written down. So what I want to show you is an actual block that I've already done. Show you the sample up front. Just move over here. The first one I did was this pink one at the top. And what's so fun about it is you pick a dark color and then you pick a light color that goes with it for the bottom. And then you do the body of the butterfly. And it's just a few pieces, and it doesn't take long to cut it. And the way I've done the pattern is with one block, making one block. So then you can just go as far as you want. And then I said, that was fun. I'm going to do another sample. So the one right underneath it is another one with a dark yellow and a light yellow. And you can actually use, if you have some fat quarters that go together, you can get the pieces that you need, whether they're dark or light, from the fat quarters too. But otherwise, I just picked up material I liked and tried to see if I had the right things to make the 2 big blocks and then the 2 little ones, for example, on the top. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and take you back over to the table and got a chart of the pieces. So what I want to do today is, just like always, wanted to talk about what we're going to do. We want to look at fabric. We want to look at patches. I'm going to do a little sewing on the sewing machine. And then the last thing I'd like to do today is I finished the quilt that was on 262, and it turned out really cute. So let's begin. Here's an overall chart of the pieces, and how it's organized is that the color is up there. This tells you this will only make one butterfly, and then it starts and it has the list, and then it tells you how many to make. So then if you had something like that you could take a snapshot of and make a copy, then what I did with the pieces, and I'm going to go to those, is like last time, I just cut my sheet apart and I've got them laid out. And these are all of the white. That's it. You're going to have some rectangular pieces. You're going to have some squares that are just square. And then the other squares, that's 2 of those. And then there's 8 of these, and you're going to do a diagonal on it. And then we're going to go into our dark color. This was the top. This is going to be the top of my new butterfly. And there's a side panel that's 2.5 by 6.5 for each side, the right side and the left side. There's the body part, and there's a right side and a left side. That takes care of those. That's what I'm saying about you use a fat quarter easily if you have some of those left over. Then with the light on this one, I went with a check. Wanted to see something different. So you've got, the bottom is smaller than the top. So your pieces, this was going to be 2.5 by 4.5. 2 of these, and then the other part, which is not as big, is 4.5 by 6.5. And then we have the strip that goes in the middle of the right side and the left side. And I chose to go with some grays. I've got a variety of grays, and I'm using a different one in each one. And this one, that one piece is 2.5 by 14.5. And to make it have its shape, there are 2 little bitty white 1-inch squares, and they're going to be put right at the top. And they're so little that you don't really need to draw a line unless you just want to. And you're going to sew from the bottom up, and then you can sew from the bottom up. You can try going this way. These are a little tricky with your sewing machine. So that would make the little body piece that goes in the middle. Now, how these go together after you sew the different components and they're put together and you've made your butterfly. I'm going to go to the right page. It takes a lot of pages to do what we're going to do, and it doesn't take that long. But when you look at a four block, you see this is really pretty. There's a heart that comes in between them, and that's going to be the red and the white that's on your chart. And you're going to have 2 parts that are a red square with little 1.5-inch squares to make that point, just like we did on the middle part, except it doesn't make a point. It's going to have a little opening. You have 2 of those. Then in the bottom, you're going to make a half triangle square, and that's to take a red block and a white block, draw your diagonal through there, and so, and excuse me, that's going to be your cut line. You're going to come out from it 1/4 of an inch and stitch, come over on the other side and stitch 1/4, and then cut it up through the center. And this is an odd shape. This is one of those 2 7/8 inch pieces. And just to look back at what was on the top of the heart is a 1.5 over a 2.5. You do the one side, cut the corner off, flip it up, and then you're going to lay the other one on there because they're both, they're large. You lay him on, so that would be cut off and be laying up there. Then this one would go on there and taken, sew down, this time sew down your line, clip that, and then when you get done, you'd have that top part of your heart. Yep, the top part. You have 2 of those, and then that, and that goes in the middle. And I was going to see if I could go to, okay, there's a great picture of it. They did it in blocks of 4. That means that there's some sashing. The top sashing, and it's on the directions, is 18.5 inches and runs across. And then when you get ready to do the heart piece, that sashing is just 16.5, because you have that little red part that makes the heart that you're going to add on there, and that will make it. And what I wanted to see, that was just full of pages I wanted you to see, because here's one that they did that was a table runner. It just turned out so cute, and the colors are fallish. Well, look at the one on the next page that they did. Look at that. It's so springy and calm looking, and this is one time where they actually even look at the stitching. Some of this was sort of a pattern all over, but on this one, they actually came in and made like the wings and made the little loops in the wings and all. And I liked that. That really appealed to me, especially if you were making a pillow or something like that. So I think we have got all of that part and ready to stitch. So I have the pieces that I'm going to sew set out. I want to just show you that for a minute, because you're going to have to watch the corners where you sew them, and don't sew them both on the same corner, and then how you lay the pieces. And you'll have the pictures from the video that you can look at, or just pause it and use that to look at if you get stuck. And then this part I'm going to do as much as I can to make sure that you get it right. So let's look at the light colored one, which has got the smaller pieces on the bottom. And you'll have the first one piece, and then you're going to have the piece you're going to do right there, and you're going to sew on the diagonal, cut it off, and then press it down. And then the second one is going to be on this corner. You're going to do the same thing. Then you're going to go up here to the blue, and look at the way the diagonals go up that way. This one goes up. And this is the only part that has extra white on it, on top of the squares we put on. And there are two for each one that goes on there. And I'll show you that, because one goes on the side and one will go on the bottom. I think I'm going to stop there, and I'm going to go ahead and pause and sew that part and press it. These are the two small parts of the bottom wing. And you can see there were my 2.5-inch pieces. And almost every time, they just pressed it with it back towards the white. And then you've got the two rectangular pieces for each side. And the first one, when this is going up, it goes on this left side. And then when this is going up on this side, it goes on this side. And you can see it's going to look like the triangle and the white, the triangle and the white. And then after we get those put on, then this is going to go down on the bottom. All right. So now, and you can see they're a mirror image, because one's got to be on one side and one's got to be on the other. And this one is going up with the white, and this one's up with this one we did second, and then add this one on the next. All right, and then we're going to be ready to add them to the sheets. And I kept thinking, boy, I just messed up. Nope, I was right. So I'm going to take this piece, and it's going to have, I'll get them straight for you. You're going to have a piece going up, and then we're going to have all right, got the bottom. And what I used was looking at where my white corner was, which is going to be near the body, and then the white one that's near the body for that side. And it comes out, and here's your little wing, because this is going to be the dark part of the butterfly at the top. So there's his small wing, and then there's that small wing. And it's just a matter of flipping them over and stitching down both of those lines, and that part's ready. And you're going to find out that the top is very similar, but this is the one that was just funny to me, because I was too tired when I was doing it, and then getting it to turn out was nice. Then we'll go to the dark one, and this is going to be easy, because I'm just going to put on the two corners, and then I'm going to have a side for each one, and these are going to have big wings. So I'm going to take and put let me make sure, hold 1 minute, and okay, now I've got these laid out, and hopefully that it'll make sense. Here's your center pieces, and we just talked about the white where you sew up through there, cut off the flap, take and flip this up and press it, do the same thing on that side. All right, then there's a long strip that's part of the wing, and you're going to take and make another one that you stitch down the center and cut off the bottom, just the way this is laying. And then this flip is going to flip down to help shape your wing. Now the difference with this and the other one is you're not going to add any long pieces, but you've got 2 more squares left, and you're going to take and sew the square on the top, and that'll make this half of it correct. And then you'll repeat on the other side, but you're going to have this diagonal going off to the right of the top. Sew it, cut it off, press it, and there's that other square you have left. You're going to add it onto the top and then press it up. Okay, now what I've got is I've got the top, and this one, it looks like it's this one. There he goes, because it's going up. And then it's a matter of just sewing the top and the bottom together, and it will look different because the seams will be missing from in there. And the same way on this side. So this one looks like it's going to be kind of cute. Once you get those 2 sides together, then you grab your body, the piece that goes in the middle, and cut off the top. And we'll go back and look at the others. And I'm going to do this a little different next time, but this is the way we've got it. And let me see, make sure my white parts are correct for the inside. Yep, they are. That the triangles are in the side up at the top, and then this is going to come in there and be sewn on as soon as I get these pressed up and it's sewn, and that will make the inside of my butterfly. So now we're back looking at the pink one, the first ones I made. And we'll just go back the way I did them from the bottom. This is just a rectangular piece. There was that add-on with the little triangle, and it's off to the left because that's going to make the wing. And then the mirrored part on the other side is the same. And then this is where I sort of tricked myself because I picked it up. I had it laying with that on there, and then I sewed this side for some reason. So when you pick it up and put it together, I'd stick a pin right there. So, you know, then you'd know that you had it right on both sides. And then the bottom goes on. And then we've got the great big pieces up at the top. And the part that's in the center is going to have that first half triangle made out of the square and the other one. And then once you get that, you take the long strip, and because this is making the wing, the triangle is going to go at the bottom. Put your square, sew it, trim it off. But then you put your extra square up at the top. There you go, to shape that up. And the mirror image would be on this side. And this will be towards the body. And the wing would be out here with a square up at the top. And on this one, I've added 1 sashing to the top just to show it because it's 2.5 inches by 18.5. And if I was going to put my heart down in this part, then the sashing would be 16.5. And then that square that we were talking about with the red ones. And so this is back to the page that has the 4 of each kind in a different place, and you can see where the sashing is and the hearts, so that would help. And the other thing is, back to the chart, and it's correct. I've got it to come out just right, and that's how I've made up my strips up there. So I'm going to go back and make the rest of my pieces. And the last thing that I wanted to share as we come to an end was from the previous video, 263. And what was so funny is that it kept saying, you know, what's going to change on that one, the brown and the purple ones, their positions on there. But if you look at it, I was about to the point to think it may not really matter too much if you have one that's not exactly right. And I went ahead and I had those three colors, the blue, and then I had the gold. And I just said, well, I guess I'll go with the blue. But then I happened to have taken a picture with my camera, and I was flipping through looking for something else, and I saw the yellow come up against the quilt, this kind of a gold yellow, and I said, no, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put that on there. And you can see it's just really a nice bright. And then I just did some different kinds of quilting on it, because like I tell you, I get bored, so I just take and change different parts and everything. And that made it fun, because then when they crossed an intersection, I made that change. And then I just did little shapes on the inside. There's a good one that was a little hump up, a little hump down, hump, and a hump, and fixed those, because like I said, I like to quilt. So that takes care of that one. I feel like the video was very quick, and after a month I feel like I'm really starting to learn to do it again, you know, and be more patient. So thank you for your patience and for coming back. I'm loved to see people coming back again. And I want to remind you that some of the things that show up on Hightower Stitching on Etsy, that I can't, because I can't use everything that I have. And all of the videos on YouTube are under Stephanie Kitchens 4340. And with that, I want to thank you for watching. Please subscribe, hit like, leave comments. You can't ever tell when you're going to say something that will help someone else. Thank you.